If you saw part 1 of this video, I'm deleting it because I'm doing it over again. This video is called Facebook Login JavaScript SDK 2.4 Part 1. In this video, I'm basically thinking out loud, trying to understand this Facebook tutorial about the login process using JavaScript SDK 2.4. I'm a PHP developer, and I was hoping that their preferred method for implementing a login scheme would be mostly PHP, but apparently it either starts with JavaScript, and it looks like they keep talking about JavaScript. I'm waiting to get to the PHP part because I'm not a JavaScript developer. All right, this is the root of my project. This is the web folder. It's actually not the root, it's the web folder. Okay, in my web folder, I have index.php and I have Facebook login.php. Index.php, when I was setting up this app as a Facebook app, I followed the directions they gave me and I implanted the JavaScript SDK so that it loads in index.php. Actually, I put it in the header so it loads on all my pages which load that header. Now, as far as I know, that's the only component of the login system which I have in my web application. However, for this tutorial, the code sample or the example that they are giving me, I put it in Facebook login.php. However, this file here with this name in this directory is the exact same file that they have in the example. The file that you see on the right hand side over here, that is a copy of it which I have altered. Okay, so it's kind of different. Okay, one fact which is indisputable is whether it's this file or this one, they both need to have the app ID in them. Now, I am going over this tutorial. I have not mastered this tutorial. So what I'm hoping to get out of it is basically, at this point, is I need to make sure that both of these files, index and FB login, that they both have the correct JavaScript for whatever purpose they are fulfilling. As a PHP developer, based on the information I found on the web, I think I'm supposed to be more interested in the cookie which Facebook will place on my behalf in the user's browser. My application, buscompanyx.com, in the user's browser, there are cookies for my domain, buscompanyx.com. Facebook's JavaScript, after the login is processed, will supposedly place a cookie in the user's browser. And that cookie is what has information which is useful to me, because once the user requests another web page, my PHP code can read that cookie. And so far in this tutorial, which is right here, I haven't seen any mention so far of the cookie. Now, as far as my interest in Facebook and my application, I am only interested right now and for the foreseeable future in creating a login system and being able to log in users and possibly managing the user through Facebook. I heard there's a way that instead of me implementing a user management system, I can go into the web page for my app at Facebook and somehow manage my users over there. Okay, now as far as the difference between these two scripts, this one, which is the example, one presents a dialog box. Mine, which is right here, index, that one does not present a dialog box. It only uses the SDK to load the SDK. It only has JavaScript for loading the SDK. Whereas this one actually uses the SDK for a couple of things, among which is to present a dialog box when the user clicks on the login button. Okay, I'm going to demo both of these scripts. All right. So here I load my web page, that's index. And by the way, what you see on the right hand side is the console. Okay, so I'm gonna log in using Facebook, and it says that I'm logged in already. And I'm gonna expand this object here and expand it some more. Okay, this on the right hand side is known as the JavaScript console in Chrome. So this is the Java console. It has objects. It presents things sequentially, and it's kind of like the command line terminal, like iterm. And on the right hand side, it shows the file and the line number that's being executed. So it's kind of like Xdebug. It shows a stack trace. At the top, if there was an error, it would show the error up here somewhere. And at the bottom, well, actually not always at the bottom, but anytime the command, the JavaScript command console.log is issued, it displays whatever message that command is telling the console to show. It's actually called the console log function in JavaScript. Now, it also shows the objects which are generated by the function calls. So this call to status change callback causes this object to be released into the scope of the script. And as a matter of fact, this object corresponds to the respond object, which we will see later. It's the object returned by a callback, and it's called respond, like in two different places. Or response, I mean. And the value, okay, if this script, when I executed it, had two states, one where I wasn't logged in, and then the other where I was logged in after going through the dialog box, then I would see two of these response objects. There would be one here for one call of status change callback, and another one down here for status change callback, and one would say that I'm not logged in or indicate that I'm not logged in, and the other would indicate that I am logged in. Now these objects in JavaScript, they are like multi-layered. That's a term that I came up with. For example, the object here has a status attribute and an auth response attribute. However, the auth response attribute has attributes of its own. Okay. Now I'm not sure, I guess that makes those attributes part of a secondary object. So this attribute itself is an object. I'm not sure about that, but something to look into. This video is to be continued in part 2.